Hey, it's Aaron, Metal Theologian. Alright, so we're gonna do 5 random records today. We'll see if it turns out to be 5, right? But I'll probably be walking back and forth in the stereo. This is what we're listening to right now, though. It's fucking Veto. And, I pulled this out because I didn't really remember what it sounded like. And I kind of recalled it as kind of sucking a little bit. I'm really digging this, though. Like, it's German. I mean, it's funny. I want to say they were an also ran band at the time, but because I never heard of them back in the day. I don't recall anyone ever mentioning these guys even once, even if they have some pretty dank mustaches on there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm really digging it today. Their signature song "Veto" on here is particularly good. In fact, I was kind of freaking out over that one. This is the second take of this video. I had a technical problem. I was kind of just going, "Oh my god, this fucking signature song!" So you have to take my word for it now. I'm gonna put this back. All right. So I've got my dice here. Unfortunately, I can't really share the roll because I just don't have the fucking technical capabilities. But I have a 10-sided die here for the ones, and then for the tens I have a 4-sided die. There are 32 cubes here, so 4 is a 0. So if I get a 4 and a 2, then I'll go to cube number 2. Makes as much sense as anything, right? I was thinking just using the percentile dice and just forgetting about it if it was over 32, but then I'd be rolling and waiting to fucking get a combination that I could use, Alright, here we go. Alright, 30. It's funny, I want to show you the thing, but Alright, so 16, 20, 24. Yeah, this is 30 right here. It's funny it went so close to the end of the alphabet. You'd almost think I was rigging it so I didn't have to move so fast. Oh, look at that. It's a nice Nuabum one here. Especially this bad boy. Let Battle Commence by Warrior. And I've actually talked about this not too long ago, I think. Really sort of a Thin Lizzy-ish band in a way, but essentially I like them a lot more than Thin Lizzy. They have a little more oomph than Thin Lizzy to my ears, And I put a lot of effort into trying to learn to appreciate Thin Lizzy. I think I've talked about this a few times on here. I've had all of the Thin Lizzy records. I've listened to them. I don't hate any of them, right? And there's some that I like more than others, but man, it's just I just don't get the huge hype. Anyway, this is the original to cover this thing. The originals of this LP are actually really expensive. This is a Buried by Time Industry issue, which is the one I tend to reach for because it looks like the original, right? But this other one right here, before Russ did that one with Buried by Time and Dust, Vinyl Tap did a picture disc. This is Vinyl Tap in the UK. And that's what I pulled out. That's what this bad boy is. And this is probably one of the first records, actually, where I got the picture disc, and I put it on, and I went, this thing doesn't sound as bad as I remember picture discs from the 80s sounding, And I've actually compared to, it's funny because vinyl seemed like it was dead for so many years, No one was interested in it. All the pressing plants were closing down and shit. But someone was doing something because I swear the picture discs these days sound a lot better than they did back in the 80s, I don't know when that change happened, when picture disc technology improved. But yeah, I've noticed it. My old Aces High one from the Iron Maiden one, I have a picture disc of that. It's not terrible, but it sounds pretty shitty, Whereas these more recent ones, they still don't sound as good as a regular LP. I don't want to overhype it here. But if you need a picture disc as a placeholder, I'm not really mad about that at this point, the way I would have been back when they sounded like absolute shit, Now they're just not as good. Alright. Yeah, actually there's another one I was gonna Here's one of these old picture discs that I just sort of came across. And this is sort of my way of storing them, because those plastic sleeves they come in, like over time they can like leave marks all over the record and shit like that. So I just put them in these kinds of sleeves so I can see them and enjoy them, but not worry. Yeah, this bad boy. Now this is an old Metal Blade one with a Restless logo at the bottom there. Yeah, I just listened to the actual album of this earlier. It's funny, my copy of it is kind of beat. And like, you know, I'm not all that picky when it comes to that sort of thing, but there are like some pretty deep gouges in that thing, you know? It actually doesn't skip anywhere, it's just pretty noisy in a few spots. I don't know. Flotsam and Jetsam's sort of a project band for me, because they're one of those bands that I've never not liked, right? But I've never like gone ape shit for them either, you know? I even saw them live once and they were really good. Yeah, I didn't see him for Doomsday. I saw him on this tour. I don't like that Elton John cover either. But if they're gonna pick some like bullshit song to cover, Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting is probably about as good as you can get for that kind of a band, you know? Have you looked at that Jack Starr record where he does Fire and Rain? I mean, I said in a recent video that Fire and Rain on that Jack Starr's Burning Star record sounds as good as a metal cover of Fire and Rain is ever gonna sound. You know? Like, you listen to it and you're like, this could have been so much worse. But it's still bad. You know what I mean? And I don't think that Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting is anywhere near that sort of level of badness. You know what I mean? It was one of the songs where Elton was rocking, you know? Not that Elton John was ever that heavy. But in a way, I kind of feel like Elton John gets a little bit of a short shrift, because when people talk about that whole 70s glam thing, Elton was really right in the middle of that. I mean, that's what he was doing. I mean, look at the fucking cover of Caribou, you know? He was doing that, but he wasn't as hip as like David Bowie and Mark Bolan and these other guys, you know? He was just fucking, he was just dork who had bigger hits than any of them, which was maybe part of the problem. I mean, they were all doing so much fucking coke that who the hell knows, right? But yeah, but these days people sort of look at those Elton John records like, oh, that's some cornball shit, you know? But they'll look at like, you know, T-Rex and be like, oh, godly. And I'm like, you know, there's not all that much difference there, you know? I'm not some big like Elton John stan or anything. I just there are other acts that are a lot more fun to dislike. Let's put it that way. All right, we got through one record. 4 more. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to get my head completely around that Flotsam and Jetsam record then. I'll talk about it and like go to the intricacies and shit. Nah, I probably won't, because that's not really how I review records. I'm more about the snappy one-liners, you know? But man, I still listen to Blue Oyster Cult almost every day. If I go on a kick, I can go pretty fucking hard. Alright, 24. Okay, 20. So that's this one right here. Look, it's another convenient one, man. So I was gonna have to spend all this time way the hell back there. That was kind of a bummer, man, because fuck these guys, you know? Actually, this record isn't that bad. It's just... So, this is probably obvious, you've been watching for a while, but like... Especially when like there's a popular musician who comes from another band that was popular, in this case Michael Schenker with UFO. When the guy goes off and starts a Michael Schenker group, that group is always going to be less than, in my estimation. You know what I mean? Like, this is probably a bad example because Graham Bonnet is such a cornball. But I really like that Alcatraz album, and I really like that fucking Michael Schenker record that he's on. But am I going to go out and buy a fucking Graham Bonnet solo album? Absolutely fucking not. You know? It's maybe not fair because he'd probably pick like show tunes to do or something like that. So, but I don't know. I think I played this once and I don't remember hating it. I can't say I remember it all that well, but I haven't really. It's not really something I prioritize. It's one of those things where, I've sort of been curious because this is the first one. Even though this other one, I think I have the one that looks like the first one. Oh, maybe not. I used to. Might have gotten rid of it. It's fell right near shite where it belongs. This album is pretty good, Assault Attack. This one, I figured someday I might want to listen to it, and that kind of never came. I think I put it on. I think I was in the middle of a jazz kick when I bought this too, so I would have been even less interested. I know I got it dirt cheap, or else it wouldn't be here. So that's it. Look, just one over though, and we could have been talking about the Mighty Scepter. This is one of the corniest records I own right here. This is a record. The first time I listened to this all the way through, I listened to it all the way through because I wanted to see if I could hack it. It was sort of like a challenge, I was at work listening to it online or something. I kind of love it for that. But this record is not good. Look at this. I'm gonna call it Jesus metal. It's not even really, it's barely metal, It's like, I guess it's metal, but it's like the wimpiest form of metal you can imagine, and it's all about Jesus. Look at that. This record contains no backward message. It's funny because it's actually the right way around in the camera when I'm looking at it, so. But how corny is that, man? Like, that's a cute little fucking joke. Dude. Yeah, this record kind of looks like it could be a gem, too. No, man. It's fucking bad. The Scanner record right nearby. Oh, actually, this is a great cover, too. Scavenger. I saw someone, I don't know who it was, but like if you post your YouTube fucking community tab or something like that. Yeah, someone posted this and was talking about how bad it was. And I was like, dude, you're dumb. Look at that. That's nothing but good. And in case that wasn't enough, look at this fucking guy right here. Why don't you tell him you think his band is bad? he'll tell you what to do, or maybe he'll do it for you. Alright, that's 2. Counting to 5 is serious business when I bullshit my way through these things. But you can look at the records on fucking Discogs or whatever. It's the bullshit's what it's about, I guess. Alright, we got number 1. Cube number 1. You know what that means, right? It means the letter A. Oh shit, man. Come on. So back in the day, I didn't really get this record, I don't think. Because I kind of came in with Anthrax right around the time Among the Living came out. So that was still new enough that I was still hearing Madhouse and shit like that. Indians, those kinds of songs of Spreading the Disease. I'm trying to remember which one I bought first. I think I bought Among the Living first. It was pretty close together. The second show I ever went to, though, was on that tour with Anthrax. It was in November of 1987. And Testament was opening. And I'm pretty sure it was in Nuremberg, although if Jürgen chimes in and says it was Würzburg, I'll have to believe him because he was right last time. So, anyway, I get this fucking record now, man. I actually had this thing in my head where I would see the song Death Rider on the Omen record on Battle Cry, but I'll get this Anthrax one in my head corresponding to it. I get the song in my head and go, oh, I need to listen to some Omen, and then I go, wait a minute, what the fuck? Yeah, because the first song on here is Death Rider. Both the songs are great. I was going to say, but this one's a classic, but the fact is that Omen's kind of a classic in its own way, too. This is definitely the roughest and sort of dirtiest and most sort of amateurish that Anthrax ever was. Because after that, they were on big labels and shit. And, I mean, I didn't really follow their career closely through the 90s and the John Bush era and all that, honestly. But I think this record is great. Even the Alice Cooper cover doesn't kill it. When they do I'm 18, that's about as bad a cover. You see, Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting is a much better choice than I'm 18. Right? You know it's true, even if Alice Cooper is cooler, you know? I mean, I think Alice Cooper's cooler. I have a couple Alice Cooper records, and I don't have any fucking Elton John ones. But what are you gonna do? They gotta accept the facts as they are, right? Anyway, this is a great record. It's rough, it's heavy. It has great titles like Howling Furies. I mean, hell, Metal Thrashing Mad isn't a bad title for a song now, is it? Alright. Yeah, speaking of bad cover choices, their next one, I think this came out before Spreading the Disease. But they do fucking God Save the Queen on here, man. That is terrible. An awful choice. In fact, because if you're going to do a Sex Pistols song, God Save the Queen is probably the second worst choice. Anarchy in the UK would be the worst choice. So, so who would do Anarchy in the UK? Well, somebody who's a lot dumber than Anthrax. I'll let you fill in the rest for yourselves. Oh, well, it's fucking Megadeth. It almost ruins that fucking record, dude. Like, So Far So Good So What is almost a masterpiece of, like, drunken metal making. Because that thing sounds like they wrote it drunk, like they played it drunk, and it's still, like, really well executed, you know what I mean? It's really precise. But there's just something about that feels, and I don't mean, like, tweaking or anything else. I mean specifically drunk. They sound drunk on that fucking thing. And it's kind of glorious for that. But that fucking song, even though it kind of reinforces my point here, I suppose, doing Anarchy in UK just fucking breaks the momentum of the record. And, like, I missed the whole next song after because I'm, like, unrolling my eyes because it's gone so far back into my forehead, you know what I'm saying? Alright, how many was that? That was 3. Somebody that come in and say, dude, you only showed 4 records. Alright, number 8. I used to do these videos in like 10 minutes or something. I was like, oh, I need to show more records. They're like, nah, I can just slow down the pace a little bit too, you know. A half hour feels like a good length. I only do these once a week, you know. Anyway, we don't need to get super meta or anything around here. Oh, goddamn. Alright, this is a fucking favorite. And you know something? If you don't have this, you should get it. Because it's cheap. This is like a $10 record. It's EVM, I guess. EVM. In Russian. And this is like really hard rocky metal. Like if they'd come out of LA, they probably would have turned out glam. It would have been a miracle if they hadn't turned out glam, in fact. But being from Russia, dude, I don't know, man. I'm trying to see if I can figure out where they're from, but like, I'm not that good at reading this fucking Cyrillic, I'll be honest. Anyway, man, this record's just kind of bad. You know, I'm just gonna put it on for a minute. We're gonna see the mighty Veto for a few minutes. I love this fucking band, man. It's called Zdravstvуй Durdom. And it's translated right here. Hello, Madhouse. Hello, Madhouse. Let's fire this bad boy up. I played this in videos before because it's so good. Yeah, that Veto record was not bad at all. So it's good to listen to things a couple of times. You know, if you ever watched Bizarre Foods by Andrew Zimmer, or with Andrew Zimmer on the Food Network back in the old days when we watched TV, he had a rule where he wouldn't like pass judgment on something. He would decide if he liked it or not until he'd had 2 bites. And I kind of tried to enforce that with my kids, honestly. And what I find over and over again is that you kind of have to do that with records too. But sometimes you have to space those 2 bites a few months apart. You know what I mean? It might make a bad first impression like that Veto clearly did on me. you can actually check it out, and it's fucking glorious. Yeah, I don't know anything about this band. In fact, the only thing that I know about this band is that Chris Rankin from Chris Rankin's Music Crush out of Perth in Australia, he bought this record and he loves it too. That's as close as I can get to a fact about this band. If he were singing this shit in English, it would lose so much. You see what I'm saying? It's heavy, but it's got a real sort of rock and roll feel. I'm gonna turn it up. Yeah, anyway, I'm telling you, man. The only thing about getting this record is you have to get it from Russia or like a former Soviet republic. You might find someone in Lithuania or Estonia who has it or something. The Baltic states actually tend to be where I go for my Russian shit more often than like Russia or anywhere further south. Depends on what it is, but I've had pretty good luck there. And that's about as close as I come giving away my pride, my secret like tips for finding records on this channel, right? Anyway. You gotta get it from some former Soviet state. It's probably gonna cost you $20-25 to ship it. But the record's gonna send you back fucking $10. And it's this good, and none of your friends have it. Except me, because you're my friend. Me and Chris Rankin, because he's your friend too. Alright, last one here. But even when they're rocking, it's not the heaviest thing ever, you know? But this just scratches an itch, man. It's so fucking good. Alright, the last we've got is 11. Ugh. Alright, 9, 10, 11 right here. Kind of feeling around. This is close to when it comes to cheating. I'm sort of feeling like which of the outers feel a little more chewed up. Because the newer ones I'm more likely to know, because that means I sleeved them like within the last few years, you know? It's more likely to be like a weird one that takes me off guard. Alright, this is what I got. Oh yeah. Here's something. I'm going to leave this out, because all I had to say about this band is that I pulled it out. I don't know, I've had this thing for probably about 20 years. I've probably pulled it out maybe half a dozen times. It's never really blown my mind. If I'm not mistaken, Jeff from Gas Masks and Hand Grenades really loves this band a lot. I don't know, man. It's a Black Dragon thing. I mean, I know it's an American band, but Black Dragon, even though they were out of France, there's a lot of good shit on Black Dragon. Like, if I see a Black Dragon record that I don't already have, you know, I won't be like, whatever. I'll be like, I wonder what that is, you know? Yeah, they're from Seattle. I don't know how the hell they ended up getting to like, deal with a French label, but I don't know. Stranger things have happened, I guess. They look just right, you know, it's all kind of adequate, you know? In a way, that's kind of how I feel about the record, too. There's nothing, like, wrong with it. But this thing has a record for being super, like, weird and technical, too. And, like, maybe it's because I was already a Voivod fan or something. I never really got that with this. But, I will listen to it again, though, man. I think maybe this means it's time, you know? See, I'm leaving it out. And we're going to do one more, because why the hell not? I kind of feel like it. That Heir Apparent doesn't seem like the best one to end on, you know? I'd rather get one that I really like or really hate. Yeah. It's like the end of Last Caress. I got 34, which is too high because there are only 32 metal ones here, so I have to roll again. Alright, this time I got 4. So still going we're going back to the A's again. No, I'm kidding, it's the B's, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, 4 is even C's. Some early C's. I might even pull out a Celtic Frost record, but I'm not going to because I know where they are. I don't want to pull out fucking Celtic Frost because you know them and you know they're great and I love them. Alright, let's do this one. Alright, this is kind of a cornball record too. Yeah, so this was actually a predecessor band. It's funny, this came up, I was with a friend and we saw this in the wild not too long ago and I was like, it's not bad. I don't know if it's worth that price tag. I probably paid like $7 or $8 for this. I mean, that actually sums it up pretty well. That and the fact that they're German, you know? I don't know where this came from. I just like found this with some other shit. I just fucking Bonfire postcard autographed by all of them. You see that shit? And I think I put it in the Kakuman record because I didn't have a Bonfire record yet when I had this. But I do now, so I'm going to put this in the Bonfire record. Yeah, this is the only Bonfire record I have. I remember when this came out, I hated it, so I figured I'd give it another chance. It still kind of sucks, if I'm honest. Let's put like Kakuman for a minute, though. Because I really don't remember what this one fucking sounds like. And we all know that FAM rules. I didn't lose the inner. Alright, this is Kakuman. I'm trying to remember where I heard this name for the first time. It was really early when I was in Germany. This record's 84. And if I'm not really mistaken, they had a record before this one, too. So I haven't listened to this in a long time. I don't really remember it too well, but there's a chance it could be great. It's one of those things where I was like, okay, I've done that now. Like, I was curious, right? But like, okay, well, I did that now, and I just filed it away, you know? It's not bad at all so far, actually. Has sort of a rock and roll feel to it, but in a completely different way than EVM, you know? His English is pretty good. I wonder if they would do this as an encore, like at Bonfire shows. There's sort of a retro feel to it with the backing vocals like that too and shit. But honestly, this is a lot better than I expected. I was expecting it to be some kind of glammy crap, you know. I hesitated a little bit because it was 84, which is really early for that, especially if they're in Germany, you know. Well, shit, man. I'll take it. What the hell? If it turns out the Kakuman sucks, I'll come back in the next video and I'll tell you all about it. And if it turns out that the Heir Apparent is great, I'll come back in the next video and tell you all about that too. Alright, thanks as always for watching. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you next time.